Hey everybody, Coach Bro here. Getting super excited about my upcoming hike on the Colorado Trail. I leave from home 4 days from today. Right now, today is Thursday, June 23rd, 2022. I'll be leaving this coming Monday to drive to Colorado. Take me a couple of days, a day and a half to drive up there. I'll sleep somewhere along the way, probably up in the North Texas area. I should arrive in Colorado on Wednesday. And I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of friends of mine about how I'm doing this. A lot of different types of questions, but most of it related to how I'm actually logistically going to accomplish this hike. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be walking for 500 miles. But I figured I'd make this video to kind of answer some of those questions. Now, if you're watching this video and you're already a thru hiker or a backpacker, you probably know a lot of this stuff already. It's, pretty much common sense to some of you. But for the average person that has never done a thru hike or, has limited experiences with camping or backpacking, they maybe don't know about any of this stuff. And I've realized that with some of the questions I've been getting, in my mind, some of them are very basic things, but I'm a backpacker. So the average person doesn't know these things. So what I figured I'd do is make this video that just kind of explains logistically how I'm going to be able to accomplish all the things that I'm going to do to allow me to walk for 500 miles through the Rocky Mountains. So I'll start from the beginning and just work my way through. Like I said, I'm leaving this Monday. I'll be driving my Jeep up to Colorado. I have a cousin, Vicky, who lives in Littleton, Colorado, right outside of Denver, which just happens to be just a few minutes down the road from the beginning of the Colorado Trail. So I'm going to stay at her house. She's letting me do that. I'm going to spend probably 2 nights at her house. And I do that to just kind of get acclimated to the elevation up there. If you've never been up in the mountains, if you're a flatlander from sea level like I am, it's a whole lot harder to breathe up there than it is down here. Never take that for granted. If you're planning a trip up to a high mountain area, make sure that you spend some time up there just getting used to breathing without doing anything too strenuous, because you can get very sick if you don't, and I know that from experience. I've had altitude sickness. So I usually spend the first day and a half or so up there just kind of not doing anything too strenuous, maybe a little walk or a little jog through her neighborhood, something like that. But also drinking a lot of water. You got to dehydrate yourself. You have to hydrate yourself up there also. But so I'll spend a couple of nights at her house. And then on Thursday next week, which will be June 30th, that's the day I'm actually starting my hike on the Colorado Trail. So Thursday morning, Vicky will drop me off at the trailhead. I'll have all of my gear, and I'm going to actually do another video going through all the gear that I'm carrying. So I'm not going to get too specific about that, but I'll have all my gear in my pack on my back, and altogether it's going to weigh at the beginning about 35 pounds, and that'll fluctuate throughout the 500 miles. Sometimes it'll be between 40 and 45 pounds, depending on how much I have to carry. So at the beginning, my pack will weigh about 35 pounds. I will have all of my clothes in there that I'll be needing for 6 weeks, all of the cold weather gear. I'll have my tent, my sleep system. I'll have a stove that I cook meals with. I'll have all of my food, whatever water I need to carry. I have a water filter. All of those things are going to be in my pack on my back. I start walking from the trailhead. The first stretch that I'll be doing will be from the beginning of the Colorado Trail, right outside of Denver, up to Fairplay, Colorado. It should take me about 4 days to get to Fairplay, 4 to 5 days. And yes, I will be sleeping on the ground in a tent each night. There's not hotel rooms along the trail. Somebody actually asked me that if I'm going to sleep in a hotel every night because it'll get expensive. No, I will be sleeping on the ground in a tent that I'm carrying on my back. Another question I got asked a lot. Where do you poop? Well, they don't have porta potties, okay? So you do just like the animals do out there. You go dig a hole, and that's where you poop. So anyway, I will get to Fairplay, Colorado in about 4 or 5 days. Now, Fairplay is a very small town. I've been there before, love Fairplay. But it's the interesting thing about Fairplay is it's actually rumored to be the inspiration for the town of South Park in the cartoon show South Park. And they've, the shops there in town and the bars, they've got all the South Park characters, pictures of them all over the place. It's a pretty cool place. But when I get to Fairplay, actually when I get to Kenosha Pass on the trail, it'll be at a highway that is about 18 miles, if I remember correctly, away from Fairplay. I've already prearranged. I have a person that I met up there last year when I was hiking Port of the Colorado Trail. She is going to meet me at Kenosha Pass on the highway and give me a ride. She shuttles from Kenosha Pass to Fairplay. She also rents out a room in Fairplay. So I'm going to spend the night in Fairplay at that room. While I'm in Fairplay, I'll be going to a little grocery store there to get some, resupply items. And the other big question I get asked a lot is, what do you eat? So I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so this Ziploc bag that I'm holding right here, it's a 1-gallon Ziploc freezer bag, has all of the food that I'm going to actually eat on the first day of my hike on the Colorado Trail. Okay, this is 1 day's worth of food, and I'll go through just 1 day's worth of food so you see the kinds of things that I eat on trail. I'm not going to take the time to go through every single day's worth of food, but I'll just give you an example of the first day. I won't need breakfast because I'll probably either eat breakfast before we leave Vicky's house or pick something up on the way to the trailhead. So I'm skipping breakfast in my bag that day. What I mostly do throughout the day is just kind of snack. Every hour or two, get hungry, I'll have all this stuff in the pouches of my pack that are easy to get to. So if I get hungry, hey, first snack, I'll pull out this little bag of trail mix, okay? And I might eat that bag of trail mix as I'm hiking. After I've hiked for a couple of hours, what I usually like to do is sit down and take a little break for 10 or 15 minutes and just eat another little snack because you burn a lot of calories on trail. So my next little snack break, I might have these honey roasted peanuts that I have in this little Ziploc bag, and maybe these freeze-dried peach slices to give me a little bit of fruit, okay? Then I'll, after that little break, I'll get up, I'll walk for another couple of hours, and hey, now it's lunchtime. So for lunch, I might have this little piece of Spam here. I've got a little single pack of Spam, along with maybe this Cliff Bar, okay? And that'll be my lunch. And then I'll hike for another couple of hours. And then usually at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll stop for supper. And I know that sounds early, okay? But you got to understand, on the trail, you get up early and you go to bed early because it all goes with the sun. You want to start hiking early in the morning because you want to be over the mountain passes in Colorado before the daily afternoon thunderstorms hit. So I usually try to wake up at 5 in the morning and be packed up and on trail by 6 o'clock in the morning to get my day started. So by about 4 in the afternoon, I'll stop and eat supper. Supper, I'll actually take the time to cook with the stove that I have. And the first night's supper is this Mountain House meal. It's lasagna with meat sauce. It's a little freeze-dried meal, okay? That's my supper. And then y'all that know me know I have a sweet tooth. I like dessert. So I've got a little bag of Chips Ahoy cookies here for dessert, all right? That's what I'll eat on the first day on trail. What I also have in this little bag is this little thing it's called Nuun, N-U-U-N, and this flavor is wild berry. They have assorted flavors, But what this basically is, it's these little tablets, and I'll pull one out to show you what they look like here. It's these little tablets that have electrolytes in it and a little bit of caffeine. It's basically just a sport energy thing. It's just a little tablet here. You drop it in your water bottle, and it just kind of dissolves in your water. It gives it a little bit of flavor and adds some electrolytes, which you definitely need while hiking. Okay, so that's all I'll eat. Everything that I'm going to eat the first day, that's it. All right, so now I finished supper. By now it's probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun doesn't really go down out in Colorado up in the mountains until close to 9 o'clock. Okay, so usually what I'll do is when I finish with my supper at 4:30 or 5, I might hike for about another hour or so until, at about 5:30, 6, somewhere in there, I'm looking for a spot to camp. And when I find a place that I think is a really good campsite, I'll stop there, set up my tent, and, get into my tent for the night. Usually I'll lay there and watch a movie on Netflix on my phone. I have a lot of movies that I download to my phone so that I'm not gonna have cell service or internet out there. But I will have movies already downloaded to my phone. I might watch a movie while I'm laying in my tent, and then usually by 9 o'clock, maybe 10, I'm out. All right. I mean, you get really tired out there. Also, while I'm in my tent, before I start the movie, I'm going to take care of my feet. All right. It's very important to take care of your feet backpacking, because that's what takes you everywhere you go. So I have some. I thought I had it right behind me, but it's basically, here it is. Sorry about that. I use this Gold Bond Friction Defense. Comes in a little thing almost like underarm deodorant. But I'll put it on before I start hiking to help avoid blisters. And then in the evening when I'm in my tent, if I've had any hot spots during the day that, maybe feel like they're about to become a blister, I'll put some more of this on at night and then put socks on over it to kind of let that go into my skin as I sleep during the night, to just kind of add a layer of protection to my feet. I don't want a bunch of blisters, because I definitely don't want a really bad blister to slow down my 500-mile hike. All right, so that's the typical day logistically. Now, like I said, from the beginning of the trail to that first stop in Fairplay, it'll be about 4 or 5 days to get there. So what I'm going to have in my pack from the very beginning is 4 or 5 days worth of food. Actually, I'll have 5 days worth of food to make sure I have enough to eat to get me to Fairplay. Once I'm in Fairplay, what I'll be doing there in the night that I spend, I'll be in town for about 24 hours. Aside from sleeping there, I'll take a shower. That'll be the first shower I've had on trail. I'll do laundry, because I'm only what I wear when I'm hiking. It's really the only clothes I bring. You don't bring changes of clothes. All that stuff gets heavy. You're already carrying 40 pounds. You don't want to add more by changing clothes. Okay. I mean, who are you trying to impress out there? It doesn't really matter to the bears and mountain lions if your clothes are dirty. All right. But I'll do laundry while I'm there, wash the clothes that I've been wearing and stinking in. And I'll also go to a grocery store and buy like more snack items, stuff like that. Most of the suppers I eat are those dehydrated Mountain House meals that I showed you. But I'll also eat for supper sometimes. I'll eat what's called a ramen bomb. If you're a backpacker, you know what that is. But if you're not, what a ramen bomb is you basically get a pack of instant mashed potatoes, a little pack of ramen noodles with a little flavor packet in it, mix all that together in a Ziploc bag, maybe throw in some pepperoni or some Spam, something like that, and just add boiled water to it. There you go. That's a ramen bomb. Doesn't sound very good, but I'm telling you, try it. It's actually pretty good, especially on trail. Everything tastes better out there. But so that will be kind of my routine while I am in Fairplay. Also, I'll be charging all of my electronics. I have 2 power packs that I use to recharge my phone, my watch, my earbuds, what else do I have that needs charging? Oh, I have this little thing here. It's called a Zoleo. What this is a GPS thing. And this is another question I had a lot is how are people going to know where I am? What happens in an emergency? All right, this will be strapped on my pack. It connects to satellites and it, has a GPS signal. Anytime I'm on trail, my wife or whoever I've given access to can pull up and find my location. It'll show them exactly where I'm at. All right, that's kind of for their own peace of mind. All right, so they'll know where I am. I also have a button on here where it's a little check mark. I can push the button to check in, and what that basically lets them know is, hey, I got to my campsite. This is where I'm going to be sleeping for the night. I'm stopped. And it'll show on a little map exactly where I'm at so that they know, hey, he's okay. He got to this point. There's also an SOS feature on here where if I open this little thing up, there's an SOS button. And if I push that SOS button, what it does is send a signal to search and rescue agencies and let them know there's a hiker right here. He's in trouble. Y'all need to send search and rescue to come get him. Hopefully, I will never have to push that SOS button, but it's there if I need it. I also can use this. It will be Bluetooth connected to my cell phone. I can use this to send text messages even if I don't have cell service. It'll send them through the satellite. All right, so it's really good to have something like this. And the brand I have is called Zoleo. There are several gadgets that are very similar to that. The Garmin InReach and InReach Mini is probably the most popular one. There's one called Spot. They all have different little programs and plans, but they're all very similar. It's kind of like having a cell phone subscription. You pay a certain amount per month to have coverage with it. Okay. But so that's how I'll keep in touch on trail. Now, what I've basically done is told you about all the things I do at a resupply point. All right. And the first one, like I said, is going to be in Fairplay. I do those basically the same things at all the other resupply points with one more thing. Let me show you one other thing. This box, United States Post Office box, is filled up with my first resupply, okay? And what I've got in here is a few more of those Mountain House meals, the supper things. I also have all of the prescription medicine I'm going to need before my next resupply point. The VA has me on a few different medicines, so I put enough of them in these 2 bottles to carry me through to my next resupply point after I get to Fairplay. I also have a few little snacks and stuff in here. I have some hearing aid batteries in here because those go out too, and I don't want to be carrying them all. And most importantly for me, I've got about a week's supply of tobacco in Ziploc bags. Y'all that know me know that I dip a lot, okay? So this should get me through that next week before the next resupply point. But what I'm going to do is later today, actually, I am mailing this box to the place where I'm going to be staying in Fairplay so that when I get there, all of this stuff is waiting for me, all right? And all I got to do is open up the box, put the new stuff in my pack, throw away my trash. I'm good to go, all right? Now, for my other resupply points, the first one is Fairplay. My next resupply point will be in Twin Lakes, Colorado. Now, I will also be stopping in Frisco, which is right next to Breckenridge, okay? Frisco is about 100 miles into the trail. From Fairplay to Frisco, it should only take me about 2 or 3 days to get there. But when I get to Frisco, I'm going to spend 3 nights in a motel or a hostel or something like that. I haven't made reservations yet. I'll do that on the trail. But I'll stay somewhere in Frisco for 3 nights. The reason I'm staying for 3 nights is this. The first night, isn't a full day because I will hike to get there on that day. So I'll probably just kind of rest and start charging all my stuff on that first night. when I wake up on that next morning, I'll go to the grocery store, buy whatever resupply stuff I need, do laundry, all of those things that I just talked about that I do in Fair Play. I'll spend that second night there. When I get up the next morning after the second night, what I'm going to do is have one shuttle me to the trailhead of the next segment that I haven't hiked yet, and I'm going to hike from there back to Frisco, okay? Slack packing. If you're a backpacker, you know what slack packing is. The reason I'm doing this is because that segment has a really steep, at that point, it'll be the steepest and hardest climb I've come to so far, over Copper Mountain. I'm sorry, or maybe it's Kokomo Pass. If you're familiar with the Colorado Trail, correct me down in the comments on that. I may have screwed that up. But anyway, it's a really tall, steep mountain. So instead of carrying my full pack to get over that one, I'm going to spend an extra night in Frisco, leave most of the stuff that's in my pack in my room, and just carry the stuff that I'll need for that day. That way my pack is quite a bit lighter, and it'll be easier to get over that mountain. But so then after I've done that, after spending those 3 nights in Frisco, I'll continue on trail. And from there, it'll take me about a week to get to Twin Lakes, Colorado. That's my next resupply point. When I get there, my buddy Mike is meeting me in Twin Lakes. He's going to hike with me for about a week, all right, for about 80-something miles. But Mike is going to have the resupply box that I need in Twin Lakes with him. All right, I'm giving it to him. I'm actually giving him 2 resupply boxes, because what he's going to do is meet me in Twin Lakes. His car will be parked in Salida, which is our next stop, and he will have the box that I need in Twin Lakes. I don't have to worry about bailing that or anything. Okay, so I'll resupply in Twin Lakes, not Twin Leaks. When we leave there, we're going to hike 7 days through what's known as the Collegiate West section of the Colorado Trail. We'll be high up in the mountains, like way up, above tree line for most of it, actually. It'll take us about a week to do that section. And when we get to the end of that section, I'll have my next resupply box waiting at Mike's car to help get me through the next stretch of trail. But when we get to his car, we'll be near the town of Salida, Colorado. I'll spend a couple of nights in Salida, kind of, resting up, doing some more resupply type stuff. Mike will come back home. He's only going to be hiking with me for about a week. Then I'll leave Salida. I'll hike for 6 days or so to get to my next stop, which will be, 7 days to get to my next stop, which will be Lake City, Colorado. All right, I'll get a ride into town to Lake City. Same routine, do all the resupply stuff that I need to do in Lake City. When I leave Lake City, I'll have 4 or 5 days worth of food with me going to Silverton. All right, when I get to Silverton, same thing. I'll get off trail, spend a night there, do all my resupply stuff, come back to the trail, and then that last little stretch for, I think, probably 3 or 4 days, it'll take me to get from Silverton to Durango, and I'm done. Now, when I get to Durango, I have a few different options that I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'll figure it out when I get there. I can either rent a car or take a combination of a bus and train or fly. That's my last resort. Y'all know I don't like to fly if you know me. The most likely thing I'll do is rent a car in Durango to drive back to Denver, which will take about 6 hours or so, where my Jeep is waiting back at Vicky's house. And then I'll come back home. That's it. That's the logistics of my trip. I've showed you what I eat. I've told you where I poop. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there were any other questions that people were asking me. But that's the basic routine. One other thing was water, okay? I have my water in these. Real backpackers don't use the hydration bladders, okay? That's day campers, day hikers do that. I have 2 of these smart water bottles. They're 1 liter each, okay? And then I also have this 3 liter CNOC bag. What I do for water is I'll use this bag to get the water from a creek or a river or whatever water source that I've come across. And then I will filter it. I have this water filter here made by Sawyer. I will filter it from this bag into the Sawyer water bottles. I have 2 of these, and I have a 3-liter bag. So altogether, I have the capacity to carry 5 liters of water at a time. All right, now, for those that don't know, water weighs about 2.2 pounds per liter. So if I'm full, I've got 11 extra pounds of water that I'm carrying on my back. I am not going to be full most of the time. All right. There are a couple of stretches on the trail where I will have to be full because there are no water sources for that section. The first one of those is on my second day on trail. There's a stretch there that's about 10 or 11 miles with no water. I tend to drink a lot of water, so I'm going to carry 5 liters of water with me for that stretch. All right. Not everybody needs that much. I drink more water than the average person does. So I'm going to need all 5 liters to get me through that stretch. Most of the time on trail, though, I'm only going to have 1 bottle of water because you cross little creeks and rivers and stuff like that fairly often in Colorado. So I usually just carry 1 liter because that gets heavy, adding all that weight you're already carrying on your back. One last question I get asked a lot is, am I going to have a gun with me? Because of the wild animals and stuff, all right? Simple answer is no. I'm not going to have a gun with me. There are wild animals, and I've seen them out there. Some of the most dangerous ones that people are the most scared of, I guess, are bears and mountain lions. Those are the obvious ones. But you know what a lot of people don't realize is that the animal that kills more people every year than both of those combined is a moose. And you see a lot of moose on the Colorado Trail. But if I know this sounds cliche, but it is really true that they're more scared of you than you are of them. All right. It's rare that you're going to see a bear or a mountain lion. If you do, you're usually going to see them running away. Okay. So no, I'm not going to have a gun because I really don't feel like carrying that extra weight. I'm not sure how much my gun weighs. I've never really put it on the scale, but I know it weighs more than what I want to carry for 500 miles. So no, I will not have a gun. I will have this little neck knife, which weighs about 5 ounces total, including the sheath. All right, so if it's a real emergency and I actually have an animal coming up attacking me, I can pull this and I at least have something to try to defend myself with. Okay, but I'm really not concerned with wild animals. I'm more concerned about lightning in the mountains than I am about wild animals killing me. I do have this knife if I need it. I'll use this knife more for other things around camp than I will for an animal. I doubt I'll ever have to kill an animal with this knife. All right. But I do have it for self-defense if I do need it. Hopefully I've answered any questions you might have had. It's the only ones I could think of that I've been asked quite a bit lately. If you have any more questions though that I haven't answered, put them down in the comments below and I will try to answer them in my upcoming videos. I will be having a video that I make every single day while I'm on trail and posting it up to my channel. So if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And when you do subscribe, also click the little notifications button. It looks like a little bell. If you do that, what will happen is every time I post a new video to YouTube, you'll get a notification saying, hey, Coach Bro just put a new video up. So you'll know you can watch a new one. Other than that, if there's any questions, please feel free to ask. And please support the Simplified Americas Fund, which is what I'm doing this hike for, called Coach Bro's Hike for Heroes. And there's a link to it. I'll put a link down in the comments again to the Facebook fundraiser thing that you can just click on and donate. Other than that, I'll see y'all on the trail. I'll probably make one more video going over all my gear for you. But if I don't, I'll see you on the trail.